Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the first Beavercreek City Council meeting of the year. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Literal.
Here.
Councilmember Rushing.
Here.
Councilmember Upton.
Here.
Councilmember Van.
Here.
Vice Mayor Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Stone.
Here. And we have a couple scouts with us tonight, and I would like the two scouts from Troop 329 to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Introduce yourselves before you start.
I'm Adam Saunders, and I'm Nicholas Saunders.
Very good.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you will join me just for a moment of silence as we ponder the coming year and ask for guidance to do the right things. Thank you. Thank you, fellas. All right, we have an agenda before you. Any changes? Do I have a motion?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, approval of the minutes. This would be the December 11th, 2017 regular meeting. Any changes?
Hearing of no changes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the December 11th regular meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstentions? 2 abstentions. Thank you. Pre-scheduled speakers. We have the pleasure this evening of having a Greene County Commissioner, Bob Glazer, with us. And Bob wants to talk to us a little bit about electric aggregation. Bob?
They always make these things too tall for us short people. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council, for letting me speak this evening. About 3 years ago, the county worked on an electric aggregation for the unincorporated area of the county. That has saved those people about $1.3 million in electric fees for that time period. We are right now in the process of negotiating another contract through Palmer Energy, and it will save those people even more money. In 2003, the City of Beavercreek residents voted to allow Beavercreek City Council to also enter into an electric and a gas aggregation if you so choose. At this time, the things have changed a bit, and Palmer is no longer just associated with CCAO, the County Commissioners Association of Ohio. They are now associated with the Ohio Municipal League, okay, which is basically the organization through which you belong. And there's an opportunity for you to enter into an agreement and realize the same savings that the unincorporated area of the county is saving for Beavercreek residents. And with me tonight, I have Kirk Mizarek and Amy Hoffman from Palmer, and I'll let them talk to you, but I think this is something that should be considered by the City Council, because there's an opportunity here to save the citizens substantial amounts of money over the course of the years. And there's not much to it other than you simply signing on. And you have, the voters have already approved it for you to do that. So the real obstacle, so to speak, is already over. So that being said, I'll let these people give you their information. Why don't you pass that around to the council members and ask you to review it and see if there's any concern or interest on your part to enter into such an agreement. If there is, and you would like these people to attend your upcoming work session, if you so choose. I think they'd be willing to do that also if you need to get into more detail on your workshop. So that being said, I'm going to take a seat. I'll just let them take over.
Okay. If you just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yep. Kirkland Mazarek, Toledo, Ohio. I am a principal with Palmer Energy Company, but actually tonight I'm representing the Ohio Municipal League Service Corporation, because it is actually their program that we're talking about. I want to just give you a couple-minute background on how we got to this position here with you. Obviously, you passed it in 2003. Palmer is a Northwestern Ohio company up in Toledo who also handles a lot of other government ags throughout the states, a lot of private customers, and a lot of governmental customers, including Greene County here with the commissioners for their facilities, and more importantly for our talk here, the governmental aggregation. We were started in the early 80s, and about 10 years ago we started working at a significant level with the County Commissioners Association, which brought us into Greene County shortly thereafter. And recently, as Commissioner Glaser had said, the OML has also brought Palmer underneath their banner to help out with the Ohio Municipal League Service Corps energy program that they just recently started. Now, this is rolled out, and I don't know if a lot of you went to the conference in November or not, but they had a large conference in Columbus in November talking about the different programs that are out there, but the energy program was highlighted during that conference as a new startup for the Service Corps. And where it's real positive, and Commissioner Glaser did touch upon it, is there's a lot of cities, a lot of villages that do this. There's a lot of counties, a lot of townships that do this. And a lot of these are handled through the county commissioners and the OML program. So when you're going out for RFP, and that's the key here, is it needs to go out through an RFP process if you guys decide to go down this path. It goes out to an RFP process through the for the various suppliers to make sure that you guys are getting the best possible rates for your constituents. Now, I brought Amy Hoffman along today because she does a lot of this on a daily basis as well. Wanted her to talk to you directly about how this process works. Obviously, take open questions from you if you have any. And then if you would like us back at your meeting here in another week, I believe is when it is, we can make it there to talk to you guys in that session as well.
Hi, I'm Amy Hoffman from Palmer Energy, representing the OML Energy Program, and I live in Toledo, Ohio. And just wanted to, again, like Kirk said, touch on a few things that we would oversee as the energy consultants through the OML program. You've already done the hard work. It's passed, and now it's a matter of seeing if there's actual savings to be had for your constituents. Where the market is now and the competition that's out there, there's definitely, through the RFP process, very much so a way to save money for your residents and small businesses. We oversee 167 different aggregations in the state of Ohio, so we've been doing this for on a regular basis for quite a few years throughout the state. So we are independent consultants. We work with anywhere from 7 to 12 different electric suppliers. So when we say we do the RFP process, we go and take out, we submit to the different suppliers the load profile, the meters that would represent the city of Beavercreek, and they bid on that load. Due to our number of aggregations and facilities and Palmer clients throughout the state, we are able to get bulk purchasing power. It's been a very great program due to the volumes. We would go out and get these this RFP, and then we come back and go through it very transparently, all of the results, where the savings are, and we compare the savings to what one of your residents would get directly with the utility. There's also an apples to apples out there through the PUCO, and you can see the different comparisons of different offers that other suppliers receive. It's really twofold with government aggregation as a win-win. Through the RFP process, we know we're getting the most competitive pricing out there. And because of the competitive nature of the market right now, everyone is getting phone calls or even knocks on doors. So by going through this process, by having a government aggregation in place, You're still going to get the phone calls, you're going to still get the knocks on the door, but we've gone through the process for you as your consultants, and we have gotten the most competitive pricing out there. The government aggregations that we have been putting in place over the last few years, a resident can leave it at any time, there's no fees to leave, but you know that the due diligence has been done behind the scene with the RFP process. When they're getting a phone call, they don't know what that rate is compared to the apples to apples or anything else. The average resident is not going to know if that number is a good number or not, or when the contract ends or therefore. So that's the process. Palmer Energy takes care of all the paperwork, all the filings with the PUCO, the recertifications, but we keep you in the loop at all times. And we're available to you. I think I'll be in Greene County a lot. I work with the commissioners. We also just signed a contract with City of Xenia. So I'll be overseeing their next electric contract, and then we're also looking forward to doing a gas government aggregation. Does anyone have any questions for myself or Kirk?
Well, we appreciate you being here this evening, and Bob, Mr. Glazer, for bringing this to our attention again. It was an item. It obviously was an item several years ago that we had on the ballot, and the voters passed it. So what we're going to do, we're going to discuss amongst ourselves and decide what direction we want to go. We'll probably invite you back for something other than a pre-scheduled presenter.
Sure.
We really don't get into much back and forth at this point of the agenda. So we appreciate the input, and I know it is on our docket to discuss it further.
Excellent.
All
The
right.
packet of information I gave you just gives you general information about the Ohio Municipal League's program, information about Palmer, and then I put a little fact sheet together regarding the different communities and amount of aggregation and facilities that we have out there at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob, can you just tell us quickly how much you think the county residents are saving at this moment?
The county residents we could only control the unincorporated area, and at that point in time, it's $1.3 million.
But what on each person might
Each
save?
household varies. You know, it runs anywhere from a minimum of about $120 to, I think, we ran it, if it was on my house, I'd save about $400 a year.
And you said that the price is .06?
The price is about 2.5 cents less than what I'm being offered if I continue with my present supplier.
Okay.
Now, 2.5 cents doesn't sound, that's per kilowatt though. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it's a numbers game. And the only other thing I'd ask council to consider is we went out for bid and we sort of found kind of a sweet spot, so to speak. The competition is heated up and the iron is hot. So if you have any intentions of striking, I think now is the time to do it. And it's something that's it's time sensitive because the rates float, and in essence, the day that you sign a contract is the rate that you'll end up with ultimately for the city for the period of 3 years, and it's a locked-in rate. But if it goes lower, they get the advantage of it, but if it goes higher, you're locked in, so it's a win-win situation. So you might want to think about it, okay? Thank you very much, Council. Thank you,
Thank you for your
Mayor.
time.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, PUD 17-2, specific site plan number 1.
This is a public hearing on an application filed by Speedway LLC, 600 Speedway Drive, Enon, Ohio, 45323. The application requests specific site plan approval for 1.16 acres of land to allow for construction of a 4,600 square foot gas station and retail building with associated gas pumps located on the southeast corner of Indian Ripple Road and Darce Road, further described as Book 3, page 21, parcel 257, and part of parcel 133 on the Greene County Property Tax Atlas.
Thank you. Is the applicant present tonight? They'd like to present something to us?
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Rob Sweet. I'm with McBride Dale Clarion. My address is 5721 Dragon Way. Suite 300, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45227. Here tonight on behalf of Speedway, requesting approval of the specific site plan associated with the rezoning at 3991 Indian Ripple Road. We were here, just a kind of a little quick background, we were here a couple months ago. We obtained rezoning approval for a PUD back on September 25th. And as a refresher, we have a contract to purchase approximately 3.2 acres, which is the detention basin for the Kettering Medical Center. And we have proposed to incorporate, or add that with our current site and develop a 1.16 property, as the clerk stated, for about a 4,600 square foot convenience store, 5,400 square foot fuel canopy over 8 double-sided dispensers. This is a similar layout, similar feel to the new store that's up at Fairfield and Kemp that we recently redid. There's some changes since we were here in September to our site plan. The driveway layout on is going to be similar to Fairfield and Kemp, with the mountable median on Indian Ripple Road. Again, not allowing left turns from the site, but allowing left turns into the site. We're dedicating approximately 5 feet of right-of-way along Darst Road. There's a jog there, and we want to clean up that property line. We have pulled the signs at this point in time. We are just asking for approval of the site plan. We've got some agreements that we're working out with Kettering Medical Center in the city to make sure that we can bring a sign package forward that's acceptable to both parties. And we agree to the conditions listed in the staff report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions the best that I can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Mayor, members of the City
evening.
Council. Again, the case you have before you is PUD 17-2. It's the Speedway specific site plan for this PUD. Specifically, the applicant's requesting approval to allow for the construction of a 4,600 square foot fueling station with the convenience store on about 1.16 acre. I know the applicant stated they have a contract. I think he stated 3.2 acres, but I think it was 0.32. Right. So the whole site is 1.16 with the acreage that they're proposed to be purchasing. So I just want to make that clear. Properties down in southern Beavercreek, highlighted here with a star. It's just to the southeast of the intersection of Darst Road and Indian Ripple Road. This is a closer in aerial view of the site as it is today. Again, there's 2 access points for the site, and then there's the square canopy with a small convenience store to the south of that canopy. This property here is the 0.32 acres that just mentioned. It's actually the stormwater detention pond for the Ollie Davis Medical Building here to the south. So any construction on this area will have to also include stormwater runoff control for what they're currently detaining at the Ollie Davis Medical Building. Again, the property was rezoned in the middle of last year. I've highlighted the 1.16 acres. It's actually now a commercial PUD. To the east is a retail shopping center, which is B2. There's some R1A single-family residential across Indian Ripple to the north, and there's some B2 commercial to the west, another small convenience store. And then to the south, again, is that Ollie Davis Medical Building, which is also Zone B2. Seen here is the proposed specific site plan. They're proposing, again, 2 access points. That we're having to move the access points as far away from the intersection at Indian Ripple and Darst. It's a signalized intersection, but right now the existing access point is about right here, so you can see they're moving the proposed access point on Darst Road as far north as possible. And similarly, the access point on Indian Ripple is about at this location, and they're moving it as far east as possible, again, away from that proposed intersection. Each one of the access points are shown at 40 feet. There's a condition that limits those to 36 feet so that we can get some additional pervious surface. And also there's a condition, as the applicant stated, to add what we call a pork chop, but it's kind of like a triangular paved piece to limit people from being able to leave the site to the east. To the west. And also there's a condition that requires striping so that there is a clear delineation between the turn lanes and the in and out lane, so that we don't have people coming around and pulling into the what essentially would be the entrance lane and waiting to go out of the site. So we are requiring the striping on the pavement. In terms of parking, based on the site plan and the square footage of the building and reduction for common areas that we don't generally require parking for, they're required to have 31 parking spaces with this application, and based on with the parking at each of the associated pumps and then the proposed parking construction, they're showing 39, so they do have adequate parking on site. They are also proposing the trash enclosure and the dumpster to be located north of the building, and there's a condition that they enclose that in a building or a structure that is constructed out of the same material that they're proposing to construct the main building as, so it doesn't stand out as a separate function and feature. One condition, as you can see on the proposed site plan, there's this decorative. It's an aluminum fence, but there was concerns by staff that when you're here and wanting to exit the site, it would cause a line of sight issue. So there is a condition that they remove this fence and actually put in 24-inch shrubbery to help block the headlights. The intent there was to help protect the residential neighbors to the south. But we feel that the 24-inch shrubbery, which will and evergreen shrubs, will grow up even larger and then provide even more cover in terms of blocking the headlights and things. So again, that decorative shrubbery or evergreen shrubbery would be down here on the southern portion of the site. But as you can see, they are proposing it to put a good amount of landscaping on and throughout the site, specifically around the building, and then some decorative shrubs and trees to the north and along Darst Road. In terms of stormwater detention, again, they are they're proposing to take purchase the stormwater detention pond from the Ollie Davis building. So you can see I've highlighted in gray the two underground stormwater detention tanks that they're proposing. One will be larger than the other, and that will that's to accommodate for the stormwater detention or the runoff from the Ollie Davis building. And then the other is designed a little differently to hold the water and hold the stormwater that is generated from this site, because that will contain more oil and gas and contaminants. So it's built differently to hold it environmentally different than the stormwater runoff from the Ollie Davis building. Seen here is the proposed architectural elevations. Majority of the building is red brick, and they do show some EFS panels over the main entrance, which is with the front elevation, which is facing west. It's the same design as what you'd see at the Kemp and North Fairfield Speedway. It's all brick, mostly brick, with the pitched roof and gray asphalt shingles. On the rear of the building, they do have rooftop units on the back of the pitched roof, so they are required to screen that with this roof form that helps hide the rooftop units. Planning Commission recommended approval of this at their December meeting. There are 20 conditions in your motion for consideration this evening. Staff does also recommend approval, and we're here to answer any questions following the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing this evening, and with that, anybody that's in attendance tonight that has something they'd like to address council with on this issue is welcome to come forward. We ask that you contain your comments to 3 minutes unless you have donated time from up to 2 others. So anybody here tonight that would like to come and speak to council? Any comments on this application? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we will do council input. And how about we start to my right, Councilmember Little.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Randy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we had talked about this the last time you were here. What is the width on the entrance and exit?
They're 36 feet, so that there's...
Is this, I noticed you said there was a little room, but is that similar? You said similar to the one at Fairfield and Kent. So is that a little bit more than?
The one at Kemp is, I believe that's the 36 feet, what we're looking for width-wise. It doesn't have the striping, and there is more depth in this area for more stacking of cars. I know that that was a concern with the,
Okay. I just want to make sure because it's still a problem. It's at Fairfield and Kemp continuously. And the barrier that you put in for people to turn left doesn't work because people turn left out of there every morning when I'm heading north on Fairfield. So,
Right.
I mean, it's a small, and I don't know if by code it can be, a certain height, but, most of the time, I think if you have a car, people don't want to drive over it. I don't really see trucks so much doing it. I actually see vehicles. So, but that is still an issue that they might want to think about. I mean,
okay, the design of the
It's-
pork chop.
Yeah, because they are. I mean, and it causes a problem with the traffic, so, not so much at the end of the day, but more so in the mornings. I see people cutting through out there.
Okay.
And there is a little play then, because
Yeah, I mean, we have some room for flexibility in that. I mean,
so
we
if two cars need to turn, one going right, okay, so there's room for two.
there is room for 2 cars.
And then what about the stacking? So the one at North Fairfield and Kemp, at the exit where there's the biggest problem and you see people not happy with each other is the cars have to pull between the pumps. If people are there, then you have people going around to the end, but if you have a larger vehicle, you have a bottleneck. So what happens is the people that are trying to move from the pumps going straight, zigzagging to the right, and the people that are coming around on the opposite side.
Right.
Then the people that are actually trying to turn into Speedway from Kemp,
Can't get in.
heading, that would be east, can't get in.
Right.
So just to bring those, I mean, I frequent that Speedway. So, I mean, so those are the issues that I've seen repeatedly. So I just want to make sure that in Indian Ripple, I mean, that's just as busy. So I just want to kind of put in there, it's a safety issue too for me, so.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that the canopy does extend on the Kemp Road past, or at least through the
It's
end of
tight
that entrance
because you
point.
can't get through, and then when you have people that are pulling through and wanting to go out that, so you actually have people going both ways, and then you have people looking at each other and they're not real happy.
I think the striping will help. I think that will at least prevent people from parking in the inn, or, well, waiting in the inn to leave. I think.
Okay, well, let's hope so.
Yes.
All right, but that's the only concerns I have, and I'm looking forward to this project, and I think it'll meet the needs of that area.
Councilmember Rushing, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you to staff and to the applicant for working on this. I just had a question about the ADA handicap compliance parking spaces. I saw that there'll be 2 such parking spaces there. Is that typical, or will there be room for more, or is that, I know it meets the requirement, obviously, and Planning
Right.
Commission went further, but just kind of a baseline, or is there such a thing?
We have, in our zoning code, there's a requirement if it's a business that's catered towards a population that would be more inclined to mobile, or mobility issues such as, retirement communities or, health clinics, things like that. With this, with these developments or a typical development, we try to meet ADA minimum. We do meet ADA minimum, but, we try to look at maybe going above and beyond, and that's really got called by Planning Commission, and they added the one. With this parking lot, one parking space meets ADA minimum. And so they added a second one to go above and beyond ADA minimum. I think that 2 would be adequate to serve this site. I think going beyond that might be an overkill slightly.
That'll be it. Thank you.
Councilmember Van?
And typically at a service station like this, there's a button to push if you're handicapped that says, I need you to come out and help me pump gas. And so,
And assistance.
so you can push a button and get assistance, which will be a benefit to people who need it for whatever reason.
Right.
I was excited that you were paying attention to the runoff, and that the retention pond is going to be treated for the potential runoff gas and salt and whatever from the gas station. So I wanted to just thank you for that, and I would support this project.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Councilmember Upton. I'm sorry. You changed it.
Everybody
You changed
switched
Seats changed, name is still the same, Mayor
Wow.
Stone. Thank you.
You
Man,
just never know.
new year, new me. What can I say?
That's right, it is.
Just a quick question. Randy, last time we were discussing this particular site, we talked a lot about the underground tanks, I believe it was.
Right.
Any further updates from that, or anything new with this particular?
You know, the
Stage of the
the
process.
engineer or the applicant can explain it better than I can, but from, I guess the simplistic way is they have one system, which is the smaller tank, which will be the smaller tank, which will hold the water in longer and not let it drain out into the soil before it's cleaned and filtered. And that's for the water that's run off of this site. And then they have a second tank that is more traditional, where they can leach into the ground because it's water that's being run off from the Ollie Davis site. But you know, our engineers looked at it, and he's not concerned. I mean, from discussions with him, he's not concerned with the design and the capacity.
That's
You know,
kind
they'll
of where
have
I was
to.
going with it.
This site is probably, you know, when they come to city council, you know, they're 50 or 60% engineered, and after, should they get approval at, you know, this evening, then they'll fully engineer the site, and the city engineer will have to sign off on those drawings, the final construction drawings with all the facilities before they break ground and we release the zoning permit.
Sure. I know one of the questions, and I don't know if you have it tonight, and if you don't, not a big deal, was around the maintenance of the tank. You know, I know we don't necessarily oversee the maintenance of that tank, but if it just start leaking or not working properly, who oversees that part?
You know, actually, the applicant can speak better to how they're going to maintain it. You know, we would really run off if we would really get involved if there was a problem. Somebody you know, reported a problem of you know, that it isn't working properly. Then our engineers will go out and take a look. We typically have stormwater detention easements to give us the ability to go out and look. And the final plat on this will include something like that, so that we can
Perfect.
go on private property and look at those ponds should we need to.
Thank you. I see the applicant nodding, so we're good.
Right, I couldn't have said any better myself.
Perfect, thank you. That's all.
Okay. Vice Mayor Van. See, I'm still doing it. Vice Mayor Garcia. You did.
Nice, isn't it?
I got used to it, too.
I have no questions. Thank you for the presentation.
Oh, well, I'll get used to it here in a minute. Thank you.
Mayor Jarvis, do you have any questions?
I do. Thank you very much. Okay. The entrance, Randy, you said something about the entrance was cut from 40 to 36 feet in order to allow for more green space?
Yeah, just like it's just a more pervious surface, allow more landscaping.
Okay, because that 36 feet that we have on Kemp is gets a little tight.
Okay.
I think I think staff ought to look at it real close. I know the engineer's asking for 40 feet, whatever it may be, but
Yeah, I mean, that was more of an aesthetic thing than it is that we were looking at just to get more landscaping, more greenery out there. And, you know, we typically have 12-foot drive aisles, so that's where we came up with the 3 drive aisles. You know, I wouldn't have a problem going back to 40 feet.
the unfortunate part about it, of course, you say this one's going to be striped where the other one is not. Or
Correct.
Marked. Most people don't get into an aisle going out. Okay, and so.
And it's gonna wear out. Unless they, you know.
So I would like to let that looked at a little closer and see if it's worthwhile going back to the 40 or splitting the difference or doing something.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have, I mean, if we can take out that last sentence of condition number 16, that at least gives us the flexibility later on the line, later
Mr.
on
Mayor,
down the line.
I would very much like that, since I brought that up
Okay.
when they were here the last
You can
time.
add that to the motion in here in just a minute, all right?
Deal.
And what's your name again?
Miss Literal. Miss Literal today. Could be Lambton, I don't know.
The other issue is handicap parking, and since it was brought up, we have been dealing with handicap parking for a long time and trying to come up with an ordinance that addressed handicap parking so that we did not arbitrarily just state that we want more parking for this applicant, and then all of a sudden you don't do it for this applicant down the road. I watched the planning commission, and of course, the planning commissioners added one, which is, again, it's not going to hurt this design one way or the other to have an extra one, I don't believe, but it's that principle of the thing, and if it's not required in our zoning, then I do, and I'm going to continue to do this, I'm going to ask the applicant if they are comfortable with adding another handicap spot.
Yeah, we can add another one if
I mean,
necessary.
over in what you presented.
Sure.
So it'd be a total of 2, which
Okay,
is
yeah.
what planning commission wanted.
They want 2, we can give 2. You guys want 3, we can give you 3. So.
Yeah, we're not, hope we don't go that far. Because what we got into was just throwing out numbers and coming up with numbers arbitrarily, different planning commissioners or different council members or whatever. And so we did change our ordinance, and I think it covers most everything now. And so, but anyway, thanks for your input. I won't ask that come off of the motion on the conditions. But again, if it continues to happen, then maybe we need to look again at our ordinance. Thank you. All right. Any other input from anybody on council? Any last input? Do I have a motion for an amended condition?
You have a motion for an amended condition to PUD 17-2, SVP number 1 for Speedway. Okay.
To go from the 36 to the 40?
To go from 36 to 40,
You want to change that to? Okay.
which is condition
Number
number
16.
16.
Can we say up to 40?
Up to 40.
Up to 40.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to amendment which? Number 16. Any further comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now I'll look for a motion for the PUD.
Mr. Mayor, go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve PUD 7, I know. Okay, thank you. PUD 17-2 for Speedway, I move for the purpose of taking administrative action, approval of a specific site plan for Speedway, Indian Ripple Road, on the basis that City Council finds the facts submitted with the application and accompanying materials and modification amendments and supplementary conditions satisfy the standards and criteria set forth in the specific site plan as per Ohio Revised Code 158.066, of the zoning code. Supplementary conditions required of this approval shall be as follow, which there are 20. I further move that this motion with all conditions be fully recorded in the minutes of our council meeting.
I have a motion and a second to approve PUD 17-2, specific site plan number 1. Any further comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, ordinances, resolutions, and PUDs. First is Resolution 18-01.
This is a resolution authorizing the city manager or his designee, the Financial Administrative Services Director, to request advance draws upon the amounts collected by the Greene County Auditor for the City of Beavercreek 2017 real estate and personal property taxes collected during calendar year 2018.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Happy new fiscal year, as we like to say in finance. What you'll have before you is a couple of finance items that are on normal annual issues that we bring before you. First one, as Diane read perfectly, was 1801. And the county auditor collects property taxes throughout the year, and this year they've actually promoted them to pay it early. And basically the ORC says that they send us our property taxes in March and in August. By passing this resolution before you, this allows them to send that to us a little earlier than waiting to those specific dates. And again, what we've done in the past is we've had, I think there was a total of 9 advances that we got for almost $14 million. Again, we put that immediately into the bank. in Star, Ohio in most cases, and generate interest off of that early property taxes, and generates $4,000 or $5,000 additional interest for us to do that. But we need to pass this resolution to allow them to send that over to us before the required date. So that's the legislation you have before you.
Thank you. Any questions, any comments from anybody? None? Is there a motion?
I would move for approval of Resolution 1801.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 18-01. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, Resolution 18-02.
This is a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Good evening again. This is a resolution that accepts the rates and the revenue generated from our general bond retirement fund. If you recall, that's the one that actually pays the debt service on the public services building. Normally, that's at 0.3 mils. This year, when the county auditor reviews it every year and they determine the fund balance, the debt service, and the amount generated from this levy, and they've decided that they could reduce it by 0.02 mils. So it goes from 0.30 to 0.28. Therefore, we have to bring this legislation before you to get that passed. Again, that equates to about 70 cents per 100,000. And that will be in the current property tax rolls and will be initiated for their 17 taxes payable in 18. So again, the reason why you're getting that now in January, this usually happens in the previous fiscal year at the very end, but we received it right after our meeting, our last meeting in December. So county auditor indicated that we could do it in January and that would suffice. So again, the resolution actually just adopts that amount that gets generated and the new millage.
Thank you. Any discussion? Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 18-02, accepting rates and amounts from the county auditor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 18-02. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rushing?
Yes.
Councilmember Upton?
Yes.
Councilmember Van?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Literal?
Yes.
Mayor Stone?
Yes. Motion carries. Next, Resolution 18-03.
This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an amendment to an agreement for electric generation supply with a competitive retail electric service provider.
Thank you, Diane. This is actually an agreement that we started back in 2011. The Miami Valley Communication Council took it upon themselves back then to consolidate all the communities that wanted to participate into a program in order to save the city electric dollars for the facilities and our ancillary equipment out there. So again, it's for street lights, that type of thing, signals, and for our buildings here. Again, Commissioner Glazer was talking about aggregation. This is a process where we've negotiated rates on our own with this pool to get lower rates for our facility. So again, it's a completely different thing. We originally had an agreement. It goes through December of 19. What this agreement does, and if you give the city manager authorization to approve it, takes that out to May of 2021. So extends the current contract and it lowers the rate. So again, by adopting this, they're estimating based on our current usage that we would save $14,000 over the life of the renewal. So this is just a resolution to authorize the city manager to extend that agreement at the rate indicated in your backup.
Very good. Thank you. Any comments? Do I have a motion? Yeah.
So we wouldn't roll this into the two are just totally different
Right.
things, so there wouldn't be any rolling them together. I'm just asking.
If we went with aggregation, I'm not sure how that would work with the city facilities. since they're a commercial account and have different tariff rates versus a residential rate. So I would still think that they're separate. I'm not quite sure how
believe they
that.
are.
And, but when we do what the county is proposing, it's to help our businesses also, so those are corporations as well. I'm just saying.
And again, as that would all unfold, if we were to get those rates, we would be able to compare that to these rates, but we'd be locked into these at this point right
So
now.
when is this due?
Now, they need it immediately,
So there's no waiting to see what we can get.
not this time.
But in 2021, we could roll them together if we want to at that time. Okay?
Yeah, just like he said too, is if we had to do that, we'd have to go through an RFP process and all that. So it would take probably up to 6 months to get that all arranged anyway, and we would be into this agreement for, a third of it already by then, so.
Well, this one, our current one lasts until December of 2019,
The current one does, yes.
so that's 2 years from now.
Right. So,
So we're really planning ahead, even though it's due immediately, we're really planning ahead because it's not even, I'm just saying, it's,
To get the reduced rate, at the rate that they reduced it, we have to lock in now.
No.
Yeah, that was the carrot, and had to extend it. So, in speaking with them, we're not the only government, of course. Everybody in this agreement had to re-up the agreement to get the pricing. But again, at the aggregation, if council decides aggregation is the way to go, and by the time that gets up and running and everything like that, we can definitely relook at whatever our options are at renewal time before we would sign on again for 2021.
I would also think just with the pure volume of these 24 communities, I mean, some of them, the communities have water treatment and facilities that are really energy demanding. I think that this probably going to be a better rate than what we probably could get through an aggregation program as an opt-in anyway. So,
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, if there's no further comment, I'd move for approval of Resolution 1803, Electric Generation Supply Agreement with Miami Valley Cable Council.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 18-03. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, liquor permits. I see the chief is heading forward. Hello, Chief.
I have 3 liquor permits this evening. The first one is a transfer of a liquor permit for Smart Summit 9-2 LLC, doing business as the Beavercreek Courtyard by Marriott. We received notification of the request to transfer the D5A, D6 liquor permit for Beavercreek BL Investors of Duluth LLC, doing business as the Courtyard by Marriott, 2727 Fairfield Commons, to Smart Summit 9-2 LLC, also doing business as the Beavercreek Courtyard by Marriott. The records checks required by the Department of Commerce Division of Liquor Control were conducted on the applicant shareholders for this request, and staff is recommending this liquor permit transfer move forward without comment.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept without comment on Smart Summit 9 LLC, doing business as Beavercreek Courtyard and Marriott.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, please, Chief.
All right, this is another transfer of a liquor permit for Smart Summit 2 LLC, doing business as the Beavercreek Residence Inn and Patio. Again, we received a request to transfer the D5A liquor permit for Beavercreek BL Investors of Duluth LLC, doing business as the Beavercreek Residence Inn and Patio, 2779 Fairfield Commons, to Smart Summit 9-2 LLC. The records checks required by the Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Liquor and Control were conducted on the Applicant shareholders for this request, and again, staff is recommending this request move forward without comment.
Councilmember Little.
I'd like to make a motion to accept without comment Smart Summit 9 doing business as residence inn and patio.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, please.
All right, the last liquor permit here is a change of corporate stock ownership for EBJ Dining 4 LLC, doing business as Chili's Bar and Grill. Division of Liquor Control sent us notification and request regarding a change of corporate stock on the D1, D2, D3, and D6 liquor permit for EBJ Dining 4 LLC, doing business as Chili's Bar and Grill, 2762 North Fairfield Road. The records checks required again by the Department of Commerce, Division of Liquor Control, were conducted on the applicant shareholders for this application request. And again, staff is recommending the application request move forward without comment.
Thank you. Councilmember Little.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept without comment for the doing business as Chili's Bar and Grill.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, City Manager's Report.
Well, Happy New Year to everyone. It is first thing I like to talk about is our projects planned for 2018. Hit you right up front with them. We have many that are scheduled now for road construction projects. We have many road widening projects, Lillian Lane extension. Some of these, I'm not going to read each one of these to everyone, but some of these sound familiar. Shakertown Road widening. Many of these, of course, are continuations as we begin to widen different parts of the same road. One that I'm asked about frequently is North Fairfield Road's resurfacing, North Drive to Lakeview Drive. That stretch is very, very bumpy, and so we will be resurfacing that this year. Of course, Indian Ripple resurfacing as well. A bridge replacement, a couple culverts, storm sewer improvement, and let us not forget the annual resurfacing program, which reminding in 2017 we completed over 16 centerline miles. That was a record to be very proud of. That's helping our road, the age of our road infrastructure be newer. We still have some catching up to do, but definitely improving. And I think one that everybody will be glad to be done will be completing, of course, Dayton Xenia Road. This piece of the road widening project will be done hopefully by first part of July. But what we'll be doing also, this information of our projects are available on our Beavercreek City website. So please see that if you need more information. We're having a Lofino Plaza Palooza. Say that 10 times fast. So mark your calendars now for this event at the Lofino Plaza Palooza. See, I can't say it 10 times fast. It's coming Thursday, February 8th, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's free to all ages, so everybody's welcome, the young and old as well. Activity stations and tours throughout the facilities. The Lofino Plaza the Senior Center itself, the Beavercreek Community Theater will also be open. So get to see the new part that was just renovated, that just opened late last year. And so come out and join the fun. All are welcome. Just a note that City Hall will be closed on Monday, January 15th, in observance of Martin Luther King Day. And of course, for all non-emergencies, please contact non-emergency Beavercreek Police Department, 426-1225. And just lastly tonight, social media, we have many things that we actually just got this hot off the press. We had been working on community videos last year. Through a partnership that we made. This is at no cost to the city. I will say that very proudly. But the good quality videos I've made show from education to our retail industry to our city services, many different chapters. We've posted that to our website now. It's under something called Watch Our Video Tour. It's also been posted to Facebook and Twitter as well. So check that out. It's good information, especially to somebody that may be interested in moving to Beavercreek. It gives them a lot of background information. Mentioning that as well, our social media, we've kicked that into high gear this January already. We reactivated our Twitter account that had been inactive since 15. So we kicked that up, restarted that, and we also created a YouTube channel. That's brand new. So all of our current meetings, from Plan Commission to BZA and to this meeting, are already on our website. So it's already been out there and been able to be accessed. But YouTube is a more friendly version, a social media friendly. It enables us to post it and link it to other social media better than our website. So we have put that out there as well. So follow us on YouTube as well. So a lot of social media, trying to get the word out. This still does not, though, stop us from doing our In Touch. Our In Touch newsletter that's quarterly, we will still continue to do that. That is a fan favorite, very much. So we will continue that, but you will be able to get the In Touch through social media as well. So that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. All right. Well, we've recently received a number of compliments on our road department, and so I want to pass those along. The road department's done a great job this winter. We're now having our thaw from our huge freeze, and so there's going to be potholes pop up. So please go to our website. There's a spot on the website where you can report a pothole or some other issue that might be coming up because of this thaw. That's the most efficient way to get it done, and staff will see that almost immediately. So please utilize that process. And I have the pleasure this evening, then, one, of welcoming everybody back, regardless of who you are, but that's. But especially, I'd like to welcome the new people, and it's Councilman Ryan Rushing. Welcome. We look forward to this coming year. And Vice Mayor Joanna Garcia, welcome as well. We're looking forward to working well with everybody that rest of this year. So, welcome. That is all I have. So now we will start with council time. And how about we start with Councilmember Upton?
Thank you, Mayor Stone. I would just echo your thoughts on the road department. I've heard great things from the community, and I've seen it myself driving from one area to another. We do have some of the best roads in the area, and kudos to our road crew and appreciate their hard work. Mr. Thonrow, please pass that along. And then also welcome to our newest members. Look forward to working with each of you guys. And if you haven't noticed, there's an empty seat to my left. If you're interested in filling that seat, we have an application process for an appointment. That'll be coming up. So please fill out the application online on our website, and you could be the lucky person sitting next to me. So,
Councilmember Van.
I had shared last fall that I was approached by some citizens asking if we could be a city of peace, and I got information from the founder of that organization. It would mean that if, after discussion, we wanted to send a letter of intent, we could. And then I brought a copy of Rockford's proclamation that declares themselves a city of peace, but it's something for us to think about. So I'll share that with the mayor, because mayor's in charge of proclamations, so, hey.
All righty.
I have a concern about recycling. In Beavercreek, we let private haulers do our recycling, but I think that the residents don't always know what can go in the recycling bins. When things go in the recycling bins, you can't put them in a plastic bag and put them in the recycling bin because the plastic bag isn't recyclable. And so I wondered if we could help educate our public through a notice in the In Touch, and maybe even share a link to Waste Management's little thing that you can touch what you want to recycle and see if it is recyclable, and it's pretty easy to use. I looked to see if Rumpke had a similar item, and they have a narrative verbiage. This one's easy to use because you just touch it and you go, well, that gives you the details on whether or not you can put it in the recycling bin. So I just thought something in the In Touch, because when we've had an environmental committee before, they've really wanted us to be more environmentally conscious, and it was in governing's top 10 issues last week, and I saw it as an issue in South Carolina, and I just know it's an issue across the nation, so. I went to my mental, I serve on the mental health board for Greene, Clark, and Madison County. At the meeting Monday night, we talked about how important it is for first responders to have training in mental health. We have the misfortune of having had a lot of deaths in the Montgomery and in this metropolitan region, including a higher than number in Greene County. And so with the federal grant, they have a peer support group that can come in as quickly as the medical team to help people. People with mental health issues is not a whole lot different than breaking your leg or having some other falling off of a roof. You've got a crisis and you need help. So if the responders are trained to know how to use not only the doctors and the ambulance, but the peer support team, that's really going to be beneficial. So I just wanted to put that out there. The sad thing I learned is that the reason the opiate drug deaths are reducing is because people in the region are moving on to meth, and that's a different kind of thing to deal with. I thought that was a sad thing to learn. I went to the United Way training on Friday. It was a different process than strategic planning. It was collective input, which I thought was interesting. It might be a system that we want to use sometime. I was invited because the case study that we used during the process was reducing the opiate deaths in the region, and so that was the topic we were working with. But I thought it was an interesting workshop and things to learn. I wanted to thank Diane Lampton for putting the motions in our agenda. Yay. And other meetings that I go to, they're right there and it's easy, and so a little bird suggested that, and here they are, and I'm just like, somebody's listening. I like it when staff listens. I wanted to welcome the new city council members and the police chief. So, Chief Evers, there's a sign out there in front of the high school that says pedestrian crossing. Does that mean anything? I don't think the traffic knows that. I walk my dog across that street all the time, and there is no slowing down. There's no recognition that if there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk, they should slow down. It's just food for thought. If we're going to have a sign there that says, if there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk, you should slow down and stop, then maybe our officers should pay attention and give some people some warnings and remind them, because there's no recollection that sign has any purpose at all. They just ignore it. You might as well take it away.
There's flashing signs at the one across from Xenia, Common Police Courthouse, and it has a flashing yellow light, and you are crossing Detroit Street with your life because people do not slow down. In fact, they will almost knock you over. Though some of us that have used that are very aware.
Oh, luckily, when I was there, I actually had a car stop and I walked right across.
Whoa.
So I was pretty impressed that the one in Xenia worked, and I was pretty unimpressed that the one in I was very unimpressed that the one in Beavercreek did not work. That's why I brought it up, is because my experience in Xenia was more positive. That's all. And I'm just glad to be working with this council this year. So I look forward to the year.
Councilman Rush.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to you, fellow council members and the staff, thank you for another successful year, and Happy New Year. Nothing to report. I just want to thank you for the kind comments, and I look forward to working with the city and the staff and fellow council members of the years moving ahead. So thank you.
Welcome. Councilmember Little.
I would just like to say welcome, and I am also looking forward to another great year here on council. And I'm looking forward to our retreat that we have annually, and so this coming week. And it really gives us an opportunity to work together, look at our projects for the entire year. We can do some brainstorming, and I think that this is one of the best things that we do on council, along with our work sessions. And so I'm just grateful and looking forward to it. It really sets this tone for the year. I like it.
Absolutely. Vice Mayor Garcia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council, and everyone, Happy New Year. Thank you for the welcome. I'm really excited to work with everybody this year, and I'm excited for our retreat and our work session coming up. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda, citizen comments. Is there anyone with us this evening that would like to address council on any issue at all? Please come forward, give us a name and address, and do your best to use 3 minutes worth.
All right, I will do. Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Pat Barton, 2109 Wedgewood Drive. Just want to state that I found that the citizen input session regarding medical marijuana was, a lot of learning took place, and I appreciated the presentations, so thank you for that. I did have a takeaway from that meeting that we had 8 months if the council would consider changing zoning from all go across cultivation, processing, as well as the dispensaries. I would like it to be considered for rezoning to say no to cultivation, processing, and to limit the dispensaries to the one that we're likely going to have in the month of March. I'm not sure how to go about that, but I'm asking for consideration. At the retreat, maybe this could be a subject. Are we going to go for it? Are we going to try? Or are we going to let the state dictate what's happening in our community? So, thank you very much.
Thank you. And this will be an issue that we will be discussing, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Scouts have any comments for us tonight? Any questions on what we did up here? No? All right. Anyone? Anyone at all? Seeing none, we will move on.
Just upstairs, walking up here.
Is he a resident? No, he's not.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify Commissioner Van's question about the aggregation and the pool deal that we have. Aggregation is really for residential and small businesses. The small businesses are set up at a kilowatt hour per year to qualify. We obviously wouldn't fall into that category. So when we pool all together as one business with that volume, our rate is probably about 2 cents per kilowatt hour less than even the best residential aggregation rate that could be out there. So again, just to clarify that, I wasn't very clear before when I answered that question for you.
So could we be nice and include the school district in that? I'm just asking.
Well, and again, it's based on a kilowatt hour per year usage. So again, whatever that threshold is for the particular program that we had joined, it wouldn't, they wouldn't qualify. They'd be a standalone, or they could join a pool just like we did. I'm sure there's a school system that does that also. But I just want to clarify that there is a big separation between the two, and that rate that we did lock in was, extremely a good rate for a big commercial entity like the 24 communities that are pooled together.
Terrific. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. I do want to say thanks to the Scouts for being here this evening. And now, do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, first to say that we have the best staff ever, as they always answer any question that we have. And I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I was going to say, that one might be tough
I was
to
waiting
get a
on you,
second.
Councilmember Upton.
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.